Okay, hi there and welcome to the wonderful world of ManageBack Take 2, especially if you watch the video on the BEP. First thing, to access ManageBack is very simple. If you go into Firefly, into your dashboard, down the bottom here is the ManageBack link, kindly set up by Colin, to click on. The other thing to note is that if you click on resources, go to Upper School IB Diploma Curriculum, you will go and be able to access the unit planning page. Although this is scrolling quite slowly at the moment, this unit planning page has all sorts of information, timelines which we need to agree, unit planning guidance sheet, ManageBack link to tutorial video that you hopefully are watching, sample templates, sample plans from ITGS, not the most perfect, but they give you an idea, and other resources for unit planning, including the ATL TSM. Okay, so obviously you should have your login details to ManageBack. If you don't, please contact me, I'll resend your invitation email. You should be able to log into ManageBack and come up with the starting screen. For unit planning, all you need to do is go to classes. You should see the class that you are likely to teach there next year or the year after. If you don't, again, come and see me. I'll place you down as a teacher. I use my weird subject, Information Technology and Global Society, as an example. You click on that. You can also just click on the classes and it will bring them up there. Okay, so click on your class. Lots of different things we'll be utilising in the future, but for now this is just unit planning. So click on the unit planning link, and this is where you'll see your unit plans as you develop them. Okay, I'll look through a sort of completed unit in a moment, but to add a unit you click on add unit there, give the unit a title, be approximate about the dates. It doesn't matter too much at this stage. You'll see how that fits together, approximate number of weeks. Click on save changes, and then you'll get your unit planning sort of template come up. Down here are all the sections in the different stages: inquiry, establishing the purpose, action, teaching and learning, and the reflection. Obviously the reflection area and evaluation we won't need to do until next year. You can give your unit a course part number, unit 1, 2, 3, 4 if you want to. You can always leave that blank. Save as draft you can utilise, especially when this goes live to students. It means that they will see their units that are being planned. So if you don't want them to see them straight off, then you can do that. Choose if it's high level and standard level. A lot of classes will be taught as high level and standard level when we have small cohorts, so that's fine. Always remember to click on save changes. It doesn't automatically save, you'll lose work if you don't click on save. Inquiry and purpose. You'll need to fill in the essential understanding, big ideas, some people call it the transfer goals. What do you want students to learn they can take away, they can utilise across subjects and into the future. Try not to be too specific, I often am. We'll talk more about those. Lines of inquiry that you want students to participate in. Diploma courses often are quite content heavy, but it's very important that we also have inquiry based questions for them to discuss. I'm asking that one of your inquiry questions per unit is a TOK knowledge question. This is a great way of bringing the TOK within that. These inquiry questions and essential understandings students will see, and I'll show you the student view at a later date. Again, it's not going to be perfect to begin with. Place something in there you think's right. Through discussion, collaboration, we'll get to excellent units in the end. You can click on save changes or save and next, which will go to the next element. You don't need to do this in order. You can pop about as you wish, or you can go step by step. Assignments. We won't be using the assignment feature to next year because assignments can be related per teacher. You can choose assignments you're going to collaborate across. You will share the assignments, but you don't necessarily need to link them into a unit. However, the more generic elements regarding summative assessment, formative assessments you're going to be doing, how students are going to show understanding, etc., do need to be filled in. Next section is the ATL. You only need to choose one ATL area here. Don't choose I'm doing everything in this unit, because what we're looking for is what you're explicitly teaching. So if it's communication, Mr. Lee will be happy if you write in here PV legs, introduction and part of assessment rubric, for example. That's something you're going to introduce, is going to be part of the assessment, is explicit. Please note, this section is also seen by students, so hopefully they can see a build-up of skills, resources, tools as they're going through their units in each subject area. Next section doesn't need to be as explicit. IB Learner Profile link, again I suggest you look at one area, and that's something that goes through that unit, open-minded. If you're doing a debate as part of a formative assessment, you want students to look at different cultural elements, that's something you want to focus on. With any of these boxes, just bullet point the answers, not lots of waffle, we don't need that, yeah? To give some detail regarding that. Final in the inquiry stage is international mindedness. How are you going to bring across cultural aspects of global importance? Again, it could be one link, one area that looks at two different cultural perspectives related to ITGS, related to surveillance and privacy. How is it in Singapore compared to the UK? And I bring in those as examples when I'm teaching to get a global perspective. That concludes the inquiry section. This is where management comes into its own in the action, teaching and learning section, because everything is imported from the syllabus. As new syllabi, is that the word, come on board, then it will be changed over automatically. I'll show you a way you can get to your syllabus easily if you want to look at it, but it's all brought in for you here. Here you simply need to tick which course aims you're covering in that unit, what assessment objectives you're covering in that unit, and what assessment criteria. And click on Save Next. You know your syllabus better than I do. Syllabus content, very similar. What are you going to cover? I'm going to cover security as an important part. What I'm going to cover from the core, high level, IT systems, etc., etc. And click on Save Next. Thankfully, you can all breathe a sigh of relief. We're not doing any standards, we're not a US school, so ignore the section. Connections, these all again come from the ATL guide. Approaches to learning, how we're going to include specific academic language learning for your subject area to support that. There are 4 areas, and you can find more information in the ATL information, which I'll talk about a bit later. Theory of knowledge connections, I think you link down here. If I'm asking you to do one inquiry TOK question per unit, you link to that. That is the simplest way to link your connections. If you want to do otherwise, fine. CAS connections, you do not have to have a CAS connection for every unit. It's impossible. However, if you're doing a unit that involves sustainability, there's an ECA in sustainability, it's good to plan that you mention at some point that this might be a nice connection, and how does this connect to their CAS programs. So next, teaching and learning, what skills, what students will be able to do, their learning experiences, what activities they're going to participate in, what they will see that's going to support and scaffold their learning, templates, rubrics, mark schemes, etc., etc. Teaching strategies, obviously we're looking for a wide variety of teaching strategies related to learning styles, however much the research goes against that these days. What sort of different learning process are we going to involve? Is there going to be PowerPoint lectures? Interdisciplinary, is it going to be part of an enrichment activity? pair work, etc., and differentiation as well there. Click on Save and Next, and that is pretty much it in terms of the unit planning. As I said probably at the beginning, we can utilise the resources facility, although we're going to need to look at how it links with Firefly. I'm open to it to be quite flexible. If you want students to be completely linked in with ManageBack, or you want them to mix between the two, we can add resources, and that produces a sort of timeline and a stream, which I can show you through the student view. And obviously down the bottom here, reflections and evaluations for another time. You can click on Back to the Unit, and then you'll see your unit with all the different sections here. You can click on Generate PDF Planner, and what that does, let's find one, it generates a PDF plan of everything you've placed within that unit. Okay, so you can produce your own offline versions to have a look, scribble around, and then rechange and redo. If you click back on the units here, you will see all of your different units placed in order there. Okay, you can see here that these two are drafts, so they won't show up on my schedule, and you can just click to draft them or undraft them, so whether they're seen or not seen. If you click on Whole School Curriculum, what is interesting and will be very interesting as we're going along is you'll see there's my test units. You see these are coming at the wrong time. I need to delete those in a moment. Here's the other units. Too much waffle in my unit plans, but there we go. And that shows you overview of the year, when those units happen, and what is covered. What will be lovely is we'll all be able to see everybody else's units when they're going to be teaching those. We'll be able to do analytics related to approaches to learning and all sorts of other things that will come at a later date. One other thing, just to come back to the units, if I'm onto this unit here, you can add authors. So I will place for your teaching, for history for example, Dom and Stuart, but they will need to add the author so that they can both collaborate in the unit, and please do collaborate on those units. So that's the sort of unit planning overview, exporting of PDFs, etc. What is very useful, if you look at the top here, is the subject center. Now if you click on the subject center, I think I've got it up here actually, then what it will do is it shows you, if you click on your subject, ITGS, it will show you what is they drag in, the main elements. Okay, if you click back to the main part of the subject center, click on resources, it also links through quite nicely. Brazilian social studies, anybody? Sounds good to me. Information technology in a global society, click on resources. You will see the guide there. You'll see that it's online as well. You'll also see a link to the teacher support material, which is very useful. So it has all your links, examples of work, etc. So you don't need to go through the defunct OCC or wherever else. Okay, and that they promise to keep up to date. So very useful. It will also show, if you're unsure about theory of knowledge, some links to theory of knowledge, XNSA, CAS, etc., etc. So that is very, very useful. Note, if you're averse to using ManageBack first to input your data, you like to scribble and place it down. In the unit planning guide, I said there was this template here, not a PDF one, a Word one. Let me find it. There it is. That one shows exactly the same, has exactly the same headings. It gives some guidance from me as to what you need to fill in. It does nicely link to the ATL guide actually, which the subject center doesn't, and I'll show you that in a minute, which is quite useful. It does have all the drop downs, so you can link in there before you fill it. there's the ATL guide, okay, that links to, which is quite useful when you're coming to do and you're looking at the different skills and sections there. The other thing to look at is to remind you that obviously students, part of this unit planning it's not going to go in a dusty drawer. Also students see that. So if I log in as a test student, DP1, there we go. Log in as a test student there. When they log in, and it opens up slowly but surely. Lots of stuff here at the moment, but they click on classes, they'll see their class, they'll see their IAs, they'll see their assignments, which I'll talk about next year, but they'll also see all of the units that have been planned for them for the year. That's why the draft part is there. They'll see who has created those units. If they click on a specific unit, then they will see the resource overview, which we, as I said, we can decide. It may just be a link to Firefly for us. They'll see their essential understandings, their big ideas, conceptual understandings. I think mine a bit specific there, we'll come to that. They'll see the inquiry questions, which we talked about. I've gone overboard just to show you some ideas. I would expect 2 or 3 questions per unit. The approaches to learning, focus for that unit, and what the explicit learning is going to be, okay? So those areas are quite important for the students to understand what they're doing, where they're going. Lots of other things to show you and manage back at that point. So hopefully that's a pretty good overview of the unit planning process. Do remember to go to the unit planning page. Lots and lots of information within there that should hopefully help you. Okay, thanks very much for listening. Enjoy your unit planning process. Bye bye.